What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of 2 for 2, your sports podcast for the culture, by the voices of the culture. I'm your host, Quis, and I'm here as always, my brother Nell, and we are back, man, kicking off a new season for you guys. It's season 5, episode number 1. Let's get it. Nell, my
Keys,
guy,
going
what's,
on, man?
what's going on? What's going on?
Knicks gear? Did you get that at the parade?
No, I had this. I did not get it at the parade. I got a towel at the parade. Where my towel? I mean, it's a little C4 towel drop. Little C4 towel. Nothing crazy.
Let me
But it
get
was
my
cool,
hands on
man.
that towel one day.
Yeah, man. I was at the parade, man. Came back, folks. Went
Wipe
down.
my
I got
ass with it.
Chico. It was great. You said what?
So I'm gonna wipe my ass with that towel one day.
That's crazy, man. I'm back. I'm back from the parade. It was cool. I couldn't see nothing. It was so many people out there. I got out there like 7:15.
That's too late.
Couldn't. Yeah, couldn't. The little jumps was like they blocked them jumps by like almost 6:45, 7 o'clock. But it was cool, man. It was cool to be around a lot of Knicks fans. There was a lot of people. Saw some crazy stuff. Heard some crazy stuff. Definitely Knicks fans were definitely enjoying it, and I was out there, so that was cool. But man, just like that, we've already flipped the switch, right? NBA offseason mode is in full throttle. We've had
Did
some
we?
crazy, huh? I haven't,
Did we flip the switch?
but some people prepared for the offseason. I don't know. Some teams have reasons to draft. Some teams have reason to sign and make trades. And we're gonna talk about it, man. Some teams have already done that. The first round of the draft just happened. We had some trades go down. We're gonna get to towards the end of this thing. But man, let's talk about the draft. First round 1, round 2, obviously coming. Could see some fun things. Still some great players out there on the board. Um, Winners and losers, man. Who are your big draft winners?
I got a couple. I actually did in the aftermath. Well, we'll get to it later. In the aftermath of the Giannis trade, I thought Milwaukee came away with two
Yeah,
pretty good talents to kind of start their rebuild.
made them in.
Um,
Team made it.
it's hard to replace a winner and a MVP level talent like Giannis, but um, it's got to start somewhere. And I thought the two guys that they brought in, Met and Berries, I thought those are two pretty good picks. And then the Bulls, I really like what the Bulls did. Some people might argue that they got the best player in the draft and Caleb Wilson. Um, love his attitude, love his athleticism, his upside. Um, so, for a team like Chicago, that desperately just needs some kind of talent in there, something they can try to build around. I think that was a really good pick for them. Atlanta getting Flemings, I thought that was a really good pick for them, having a guard like that. It can knock down some shots, play some defense, full court press, having him next to Nikhil Alexander-Walker, Dyson Daniels. I think that could be pretty good for them. They brought CJ McCollum back for another 1-year deal, somebody that he can learn from. So I think Atlanta did a pretty good job in the draft. Also added some front court size. Obviously, that was an an issue against New York. So I thought those were some pretty good picks. I thought OKC, was really good. Losers wise, I don't, it's hard for me to say who the losers are. There weren't for me a lot of head scratchers this time around. Um, I guess the biggest loser probably be the Indiana Pacers, who traded a top 5 pick.
Yeah.
Zubac, as good of a player as he is, aging. Personally, I don't really think he fits what the Pacers do. I don't know if he's gonna fit that up tempo style with Halliburton and the rest of those guys running. But a chance to add a top 5 talent on a rookie deal, hard to pass up on. And now you're paying Zubac whatever you're paying him for his services. Um, Pelicans, literally, we were on here last year. I said I don't understand. I said I did not understand that Pelicans trade, giving
Yeah.
up a unprotected lottery pick like that team was had any kind of playoff aspirations to where that first round pick wouldn't have meant as much as I fully expected that to be another lottery pick. So to just trade a first round pick for Derek Queen, no lottery protections at all, not really knowing what you're going to get out of him, had a solid rookie deal. But I don't think we're looking at this as Derek Queen is a future savior of that franchise, and to not be able, we don't know what's going on with Zion, to not be able to have a first round talent, a lottery pick this year was a big loss for them. So I mean, those I would say those are my two biggest losers. Those are two teams that had a terrible year and really don't get much to show for it in the draft.
Yeah, I like where where you went with this, man. Honestly, uh, I agree. This draft I wouldn't say there's many losers, right? I think this was a great draft. It was very deep. I mean, high end talent, but lots of depth and great players that are going to be productive in the NBA. And I think you saw teams. I mean, there weren't many risks, right? Like there weren't many, or in terms of risks. I mean, like picks where it's like, okay, I can't see that, right? Like, I mean, obviously Washington. I mean, you get AJ Devansa, right? That's something that can really turn your franchise around. You got Trae Young, you got Anthony Davis. Now you got that guy who, if he projects to be what we think he will be,
Don't
you know.
forget Sarr and Trey Johnson. They got a
Oh
lot
no,
of
that's what I'm
other
saying, and
lottery
I was
picks
saying
on their
that
young talent.
absolutely, and they've got tons of guys over there that they've drafted in the last few years. That this team they've got everything now, right? In a sense, if AD can be healthy, if Trey, we know what Trey Young can do. They can really make some noise. So got to be excited for them, of course. You said OKC. I love getting a Daimara and Ben Sturts. You get a guy to stop Wemby, or not stop, but help stop Wemby, right? A big guy. He can play make. He can stretch the floor a little bit. He's shooting the three ball towards the end of his time at Michigan. I mean, obviously, and he's huge. So like that helps you, and that helps alongside Chet and what we talked about with Chet disappointing in that playoff series. So big for them. And on the flip, speaking of the Spurs, I like what they did. Right? I mean, the Knicks whooped them, in the non-Wemby minutes, right? Luke Cornett, cool, but you can't play Bismack Biyombo, you can't play Mason Plumlee, so your other bigs are kind of
They
just.
they they whooped them in the Wemby minutes too.
I mean, hey, I wasn't gonna say it. But you get my point. They get Taurus Reed, they get Jaden Quinitz, who two bigs. One's young, athletic, can do it all, long, lanky, still growing into his body. Then you got Taurus, grown man, has played at the high level, that's physical, right? So to help bolster that, we talked about they need to get a four-man, right? Can that kind of help him out a little bit? I like what the Hornets did as well, right? Hans Steinbach, big guy out of Washington, put him on the floor. Christian Anderson, another guard. He kind of reminds me of Kobe White, honestly, in a sense of how he plays. Can shoot the ball. Can play make another guard for that to play on the bench and then fit that kind of mold of guys that really love basketball. Like the Hornets are a legitimate franchise. Like they are, you know, they looking to try to get into that break into the Eastern Conference. And then my last winner really is shout out to the USA and the college kids, man. I mean, we've seen the draft for the last few years kind of been dominated by Europe, right? I mean, I don't know how many guys, let me see, outside of the guy that the Knicks drafted and stashed, but we traded him away anyway. Everybody on this list, they're a college USA kid, right? Like you don't really see the world takeover in this draft that we've come to kind of know and see. Obviously they got some prospects down the line, but hey, shout out to the college system. Look at what NIL is doing, man. Got these boys staying in college and doing a little something. Losers, um, like I said, didn't really see many losers. I mean, of the draft, like in the first round, the Raptors pick Allen Graves. I mean, he could hoop. I'm just kind of like, you still got, some guys on the board that I think maybe could help you out a little bit. You need some depth at the point guard position, right? We saw what happened when Emmanuel quickly went out. For them, they were useless, and you got talk about LeBaron Philon sitting right there. I don't know, that's just kind of me. And then my other loser that I have is actually not a team. My guy Ace Bailey, man, let me tell you, Ace, for a guy that was talked about and should obviously he's in a good situation. I think the Jazz are building a team, but he's not starting on that roster this year. again, right after much of last year where he got some starter minutes, got some games where he started because of the team's place. I mean, you draft Darren Peterson, which of course that's the decision, easy. Okay, fine, you take AJ, I'll take Darren. But Ace Bailey's now going to be sitting on that bench behind Darren Peterson, right behind Keontae George, behind Jaren Jackson and Laurie Markkinen, right? So tough for him being a guy that was drafted, just last year. I think he can definitely carve out a role in that 6-man spot. But hey, it'd be nice if Ace Bailey could rock out a little bit in hoop. So uh, that's all I say on that. What about your best non-lottery pick, man? So who you got?
Hmm.
Come on, talk about
That's
the
a tough
Sixers,
one.
man. Talk about the Sixers, man. I'm
It
trying to
was
bait you.
it was a good pick. I like it. He was look, he's gonna have some shoes to fill. 'Cause everybody's up in arms about the Jared McCain trade, so we got another guard. Um, I like what he can do. We desperately needed. Obviously, we don't need Maxi playing 47 minutes a game.
He
So
can he can go.
that was definitely a good pick. Um, I like OKC getting uh whatever that guard's name was
Hurts.
from yeah. Um,
Sniper. Good lord.
yeah. Another ball handler for them. They needed that. Um, Koa Pete at 30, I believe he was drafted.
Yeah.
Was he the last pick? Yeah.
Yeah.
Thought that was pretty good value.
I got hyped
Um,
up when we had traded, and then like right before I laid down, they had said like that he got shipped to the Knicks, and I was like, oh shit, that's tough. And then like 5 minutes later, we shipped him to Phoenix. I'm like, okay, but I do like that pick. He can hoop for sure. I
yeah, I
see.
think that's a great value pick for them. Like, yeah, it's like you said, it was a deep draft. It's a lot of teams got some promising talent that could possibly be in the rotation next year.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm right with you. I mean, I love all of these. I kind of already talked about Phylon. I like his game. I love watching him play. I watch how he walked down Michigan in the NCAA tournament. I was like, look, we might lose this. Whoever was guarding him every play, he was just taking them to work. But I think one of the won't get a lot of talk about or hasn't gotten much from us yet. Ibuka Okori to Detroit, the small guard out of Stanford. Another one of those guys that really, really,
It's a good
really,
one.
if he wasn't at Stanford last year, like people that watch know, right? But if he wasn't at Stanford last year, my God, he would have been in the lottery easily, right? Easily. I mean, a guy that we think about, the Pistons and that team and how without Cade, right? Who else was gonna score for you? Who could create a shot for others without Cade? Who could play make without Cade? They got some good minutes from Donis Jenkins, but that wasn't the investment, right? Like you invest in the first round pick into this guy right here because he has all those tools. He can be a complimentary scorer beside Cade. He can play without him. He can bring the ball up and run the offense with Cade in the secondary spot. So definitely, I think that's one of my favorite picks because I think the fit it's perfect. I think the opportunity is there, and for a guy that I think was lesser known, it should have been more known to go to a spot like this. He'll have a chance to really kind of carve out a role for himself in the NBA, man. So, um,
Yeah,
last thing on the
I
go ahead.
like Cameron Carr for the Lakers
Oh
too.
yeah, ooh, Showtime,
Another shooter for them.
Showtime.
When you got Luca, and we'll see if LeBron is still there. Got to surround that cast with shooters, and you got one of the best shooters in the draft. So, yeah, that was a good pick for the Lakers too.
Yeah. No, definitely, definitely. So it was the first round was good, man. I don't think anybody, like we said, was really no head scratchers. Really nothing like okay, like teams really drafted, and there was some good players, and I think all these guys can kind of, really impact the game right away. So we'll see.
I was a little shocked by Dallas's pick, but I guess I shouldn't be
Melez.
surprised considering who the head coach was.
Hey, right into it, man. Break my heart right here on the podcast, man. Dusty May. That was the big news also before the draft, folks. My Michigan Wolverine national championship winning coach, Dusty May, announces the day before the draft that he's going to leave Michigan and coach the Dallas Mavericks. Um, Obviously, I mean, it's always tough, when you see a coach leave the college level, like that. But you got to think like they're professionals too, right? Like that's the next step for him, right? I mean, he's seen the top at that level. He went from FAU to Michigan to the NBA in like 8 years, bro. Like you flying, right? You going while you hot. I mean, he's young, great coach. I mean, what do you think about the move, man?
Yeah, it was a pretty good move. Not something we expected. I don't think a lot of people even expected Jason Kidd to lose his job. With how last year went with all the injuries and trades. Cooper Flag had a terrific rookie year and showed a lot of signs. But we've seen him obviously win a national championship. We've seen him obviously he knows how to put a team together, build a championship team. Especially in this era of college basketball now. With the NIL deals and guys transferring the transfer portal. So for him to be able to, find the right pieces and put them together to win a national championship, um, it shows a lot about who he is, the kind of mind that he has, being able to, rally guys behind him, find those right pieces that fit together, creating a good culture. So, like you said, he's young, should be able to fit into, what Dallas has got going on right now. So it'll be interesting to see, what they do next year. Interesting to see, if Kyrie is going to be there for the long term, how healthy he is next year. Um, what they do, they got a pretty loaded front court. Obviously, Gafford and
Yeah, Gafford probably out of there. Probably out of there.
probably PJ Washington. Who's the other
Lively,
one? Yeah,
Lively.
Lively. So got a bunch of guys down there, but um, we'll see what he does with Cooper Flag. It should be fun to see,
Yeah, man. I mean,
and bringing one of his Michigan guys along with him.
yeah. Why not? I mean, you knew it was gonna be one of them. When you saw that move, it was like, well, he'll probably get Yaxel. But then I was thinking, but I was telling people like Yaxel and Cooper Flag are like, but Cooper Flag's just better, right? And younger. So you don't want to draft Yaxel and him to basically do the same thing together. So I thought it would be a die, right? I'm like, you go the 7-3 guy, let it rock. Like that's a great rim protector behind Cooper Flag. But he went and got Morez. And I mean, he's always had a real, love for Morez. So good move on Dusty's part. But I'm excited to see it too, right? A guy like proofs in the pudding. He's won everywhere he's been. He's overachieved everywhere he's been, even, right? I mean, to do what he did in Michigan in 2 years, incredible. Like you gotta think when he got there, we had just missed the tournament. Like we just fired Juwan Howard. And within 2 years, you win a national champion and made Michigan a perennial power. So hate that for Michigan, but I think he's gonna be really good at this level. He's adaptable. The players love him. His scheme is crazy and his pen is crazy. So you know, like you said, it'll be about what he does with Cooper Flag. It'll be how he unlocks Cooper Flag and what level can he take him to. There are a lot of questions in that locker room right now as far as the roster goes. So clearing that out and setting that together. But good start. Get your guy. That's gotta always be fun. Moving out of the draft, man, into what Nell kind of talked about a little bit. The trade market has already kind of hit, and we've seen a big, big trade. We talked about Giannis all year, and finally it happens. Giannis heading to Miami, man, for a long laundry list of things that include like Tyler Hero, Khalil Ware, lots of picks, Rokas, Josh. I don't even know how to say my man's name, so I ain't gonna say it. But a lot of people in picks moving. Giannis in Miami alongside Bam. That's your duo right now. 83-point Bam. Bam's 83. Are they a contender right now? Like, is this like a lot of you like?
I think they'll be a good team next year, but I think they're a year away from true contention. When you trade it for a superstar of that caliber, it comes at a price. The price of depth and a lot of the shooting that they had on that team. Um, Not bringing many guys back from their rotation a year ago. I think a year to see how Giannis fits with Bam and make some roster moves the following summer with hopefully some more assets. I think that'll put them in serious contention for the 2028 season. I do really like the pairing of Giannis and Bam. I mean, defensively, both those guys can protect the rim, rebound, guard 1 through 5. Switch on pick and roll. So I think defensively, like that's a pretty good duo. Obviously, the biggest issue with the team right now is shooting and playmaking. You got Davion Mitchell as right now as your starting point guard. It's just not going to get it done for a championship. And I mean, he's a pretty good piece if he's coming off your bench. He'll pick up 94 feet. Shot the ball from three pretty well last year, so he can do some things. Um, I think the biggest thing will be what they do with Andrew Wiggins. He's already shown that he can contribute on a championship team. I thought he was the second best player on the Warriors when they won that title in 2022. He shot 40% from three last year. That's a nice 3-and-D wing to have. But at 28 million, um, whether they trade him this year, I don't think he'll be back with the team. In that 2028 season. But I think his $28 million tag. It'd be interesting if they trade him and try to acquire some more depth. Will they be able to bring back Norman Powell? I don't really see that happening.
No.
Um, Bam's got paid. Like I said, Wiggins making 28 million, Giannis making 54 million, and this is Norman Powell who's coming off his first All-Star year. I think he's going to be asking for a pretty hefty price. I don't think he'll be looking to take a pay cut, but hey, Jalen Brunson took a pay cut, and anything can happen these days. Maybe guys are more willing to sacrifice to win that chip after seeing somebody like him do that. So, um,
What?
what?
Somebody like him do that?
Yeah, it wasn't shade, yo.
I
Relax,
just had
yo.
to say, I don't know, it came across
Relax.
weird. I ain't like it.
Okay,
So I'm
bro.
let it go. All right, okay.
And someone of he's a higher caliber, so him taking less money to help the team win a
I mean,
championship, maybe
I mean,
somebody of a lesser caliber will be like, you know what, if he can do it, why can't I?
you're right.
Anyway, back to what I was saying. But yeah, he's coming off All-Star year. We'll see what the market demands for him. Um, but like you look at the last 8 title teams, like you got to have depth. You got to have multiple guys that can shoot the ball. Chemistry is a huge thing. So I think as building blocks, I think they're building towards, creating a championship roster. You bring a guy in like Giannis, the expectations are to be in contention. But I don't think it'll be next year. Traded a lot of assets to get him. Don't blame them. Got to do what you got to do. The Heat were stuck in a situation where they were just a play-in team pretty much every year. So it'll be fun to see. Giannis in Miami. Um, that'll be good to see. It's a good fit. I mean, he's one of the hardest working guys in the league. We know about that Heat culture. So it should be a match made in heaven for him. But I think there's still a couple of teams in the East just for chemistry and total roster construction. I think would still be ahead of them going into next season.
Yeah. Doesn't move the needle much. I agree. I mean, it'll be cool. Like it'll be good to see. I mean, Miami was at a crossroads, right? Like they were stuck in the mud, like you said. I was getting to the point where I'm like, you might just got to move on from Spo and Pat Riley together, right, and just kind of start fresh. Not because you bad, but it's just like you do want to just be like mediocre forever, right? That's kind of where they were. You got Bam, right? They've gone out to say this is their franchise guy. So it's like, okay, we're not moving Bam, and that's probably the only piece that at the time you think could get you something to get you back started or whatever, right? But hey, then you make this move, you get Giannis. So I mean, I'm not complaining. You get Giannis, you get Giannis. That's a top 3 player in the NBA, right? When healthy, like you said, they're gonna be a top. They're not gonna be in the plan anymore, right? You won't be in the plan anymore, but what do you do as far as all the things that Nell already said? I mean, shooting, obviously, you're going to have to backfill this roster, but then you're going to have to go pick up guys that you can get, that you can afford, right? You're going to go take shots at, I think I already saw like Buddy Hield, right? Like, okay, like guys are like, okay, yeah, he can shoot the ball. Like, that's cool. But it's kind of like we saw in the past where like the past 2 years with Bron teams where it's like, oh, we need shooting and we go get Gabe Vincent and we go get these guys. It's like, they cool until they not cool, right? Like eventually you're gonna remember why they were just sitting at the end of the bench and why you could afford them. So it's like it's gonna be tough. So they'll have to do some things. With that, obviously Giannis and Bam together are gonna have to become better shooters, right? Because your two best guys being, you know, rim running guys, there's spacing will be off if you can't, get shooting around. If you can't have the threat of the three. Obviously, I'm not worried about Giannis. More Bam here. So you know, we'll see. I like the fit though. Like you said, I mean, defensively they're going to be stout. They're going to be amazing. The Heat teams are already with Spo. They just have they're tough to score on anyway. They already play nasty games. So if you can if you're the Heat, you think, hey, shoot, if I can make all these games as nasty as possible, at the
And
end
look,
of the fourth quarter, I
you got a
can get
defensive
13.
player of the year,
I
and
can,
you got the former defensive player of the year. You got a guy who I think um, should probably have a defensive player of the year under his belt, but certainly a contender for that award every year. And Bam, such a versatile defender. They're going to be really good defensively. It's just I don't know if they'll be good enough offensively to win a championship.
yeah, yeah, it'll be interesting. So we'll see. But the East, man, y'all said it's wide open. So we'll see what happens. Everybody's back, so it'll be fun. It'll be a new shift to the powers. We saw another trade out west, bring somebody out to the East. The Timberwolves moved Julius Randle to Brooklyn. Obviously, Timberwolves are in a situation, and I think they came out. They said the thing that this is as an addition by subtraction type of move. I mean, you had to give up a pick and move back in the draft to get rid of the guy, right? Just to salary dump him because you couldn't take it on anymore. Um, is that enough?
No, if they didn't get anything in return, I think the Wolves have done their fans and Ant-Man absolute disservice since they went to the Western Conference Finals the first time against Dallas. And I've gone back and forth with numerous people who think that the T-Wolves should be some championship contender just because Ant lights it up in the playoffs, and they somehow made it back to the Western Conference Finals, which only happened because Steph Curry got hurt in Game 1. And then we saw they won game 1 against the Spurs, and then it was pretty
Oh,
much no contest the rest of that series. Um, but yeah, like you make it to the Western Conference Finals, you then follow that up without getting better. You trade your second best player, who obviously we saw can help lead a team to a championship, and you were lucky to get back. Like I said, you were lucky to get back to the Western Conference Finals the next year because you only got there because Steph Curry got hurt in Game 1. Um, and then that next summer, you lose Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who was a big piece of that team, and we saw him have a breakout year in Atlanta. You do end up making a trade deadline move for Dusumu, who they bring it back, and was a good pickup for them. But um, like I said, it's just confusing. They keep stripping the roster year after year, not really improving. Their best roster was 2-3 years ago, and you look at that team now. There's just no way. I look at them as a contender now. Obviously Ant and McDaniels and Gobert and Nas Reed. You know, y-
yeah, they
who
cool.
knows if we're going to see DiVincenzo next year at all? Like, yeah, like that's a solid team, and Ant is. We look at Ant as one of those next guys, and he ups his game in the playoffs. He was a little banged up this postseason with the knee. Um, but I don't know how we can put them on the same level as um, OKC and San Antonio, even Denver, with the roster that they have right now. And I don't know what kind of moves they can make to really improve that roster. I know they were kind of in on the Giannis talks for a little bit. Nothing really happened there. Um, you traded Julius Randle and a first round pick. You had to put a first round pick on it. So just giving up assets to get someone off your team. And I'm not saying that move shouldn't have been made. I think the Julius Randle experiment was, definitely, expired, but I don't really know where they go from here to improve their roster.
Yeah,
Um, can they, I don't even think they have the resources to maybe finesse a Jaylen Brown deal, or, um, who else would be out there? So I don't,
take a
a
swing
John
at John
Morant or
Morant.
something like
Yeah,
that. Like
take a swing.
a Zion. Like I don't. I don't even really think they got the assets for that anymore. So we'll see. But yeah, there'll be a lot of ant rumors swirling around trade talks for the next year or two. So we'll see what happens, especially if they have a pretty down year next year.
Yeah, it's tough, man. My guy ain't about to ask out, and we're gonna be waiting for him with open arms because it's just getting to a point. I mean, they said they moved Randall with the intention of opening up space for Nas Reed and Jaden McDaniels to flourish. It's like, okay, that's another big investment in those guys. And don't get me wrong, those are his guys. He rocked, but Cat was also his guy. You gotta imagine how hard it is for him to watch Cat leave and win the championship. I mean, that's why Julius gets shipped out of there and first thing smoking because somebody's in the front office like, well, damn, we fucked up. You know what I'm saying? We did, right? Like, look at him. And so I mean, Julius had to know he was going, but it's just not. They're still the same old. They're the same team, right? And like you said, they had like I
Yeah,
say,
just a lot of bad mismanagement. I mean, you give up what was it? Was it four? Was Rudy Gobert trade? Was that 4 first round picks or was that 1 5? Either way, too damn much for just a rim protector. Um, and then you have a top 10 pick in the draft, and you
five
use that
first.
on Rob Dillingham, who you then traded a year or two later. Um, yeah, I don't know. I just don't know. You had to attach a first round pick to get rid of Julius Randle, so uh, not
Getting up
getting any
there.
younger.
Yeah,
And I don't really know if there's a star out there for you to pair up with Ant. You can look. Jaden McDaniels had a hell of a series against Denver. He shows flashes from time to time. He's improved year in and year out. Same with Nas Reed, but I don't know if those guys can get you over the hump when you watched what you saw last year between OKC and San Antonio, and everyone is like, oh, these two teams are going to be battling it out to see who comes out the West for the next decade. And if you want to throw your team's name in that hat, uh, you're not doing it with these kind of moves.
yeah. Nah, you're putting a lot of pressure on that guy again, and that's how you see knee injuries and things occur, and people because he's got to do a lot to carry the load, and he's down because he's young and he's got it in him, but he
And
killing.
if the parity era has taught us anything, gotta support your star player, so
Yeah,
he's not out there having to average 35 to win a series, or everything can't be on him.
yeah. Definitely don't want that, man. Um, Fallout of the Giannis deal, right? A lot of talk of that Boston getting in the sweepstakes, moving Jaylen Brown. At this point, knowing Jaylen Brown and knowing how this is all played out, do you think Boston has to move Jaylen Brown now since they didn't get that deal done? Like you already didn't put him out there as you moving him. You can't bring him back into the locker room now.
It's no shot they can bring him back in that locker room.
It's got
I mean, we saw it, and I know he was probably just as confused hearing his name in trade talks after he led the Boston Celtics to a 54-58 one season. Most of that, 90% of that without Tatum. um, you know 2 seed in the East, obviously, didn't end well, blowing a 3-1 lead in the first round, and him coming out the very less than 24 hours later, coming out saying this is my favorite season. And which I totally understand. A player, personal growth. A lot of people didn't think, everyone thought it was going to be a gap year. A lot of people didn't think Jaylen Brown is the guy that could lead a team. They thought of him as a number two. So um with the way that he carries himself and thinks of himself, and there's been plenty of times where he has voiced his frustration about not feeling as appreciated within that organization and amongst fans, as a Jason Tatum. This is a guy that was the Finals MVP. Was he the Eastern Conference MVP too?
who did that beat?
The Pacers. Either way, Finals MVP. Um, what he's done, over his career in Boston, definitely, um, you know, a bit underappreciated. Even though guys still making
Yeah,
300 million. So I mean, he's got as many accolades, if not more, than Jason Tatum. Um, They both are perennial all stars. He's got the playoff trophies, the MVPs, and the Eastern Conference Finals and the finals. So I can understand feeling a bit slighted. This guy, the light skinned man gets all the praise while I'm over here, winning Eastern Conference Finals MVP, Finals MVP, winning the championship. He's out. I'm still leading the team to 50 plus wins and a top seed in the East.
He gift wrapped the man a coach of the year.
So
He just handed you one.
I can understand that, but especially knowing the kind of player that Jaylen Brown is, the way that he thinks of himself, highly of himself. I know that he wants no parts of Boston after being thrown around in trade talks. Like he's probably feeling like, oh, y'all think after a year where I led the team to 54 wins and a second seed in the East without our best player or second best player, whatever. Y'all think I'm the issue, and y'all think y'all need to move me to get better. I
Right.
can understand how he would feel a way about that. So um, it's gonna be some tension if they decide to keep him. Um, with the team next year. Whose team is it? Who's coming out taking all the shots next year. I think between them two, I think that relationship might be fine between them two, but it's going to be a little bit of friction on the court for sure, just because after the year that he had, he obviously thinks that he's that guy, and
Yeah.
rightfully so. I think
Sure.
any normal human being would feel like that if the guy that they saying that's Batman. Now Batman went out and you show like, hey, I can be Superman, I can be Batman too. I ain't coming back next season to be a Robin. I understand that. So you know, Boston put that out there, and they gonna have to live with it. They didn't get the trade done, so now you either gonna have to move him, or you're gonna have to find a way to make peace. I don't think there's room to make peace with Jaylen Brown. I don't think he's that tight. I think
Nah,
once that bridge is burned with Jaylen Brown, that shit staying burnt and broken down. We ain't repairing that bridge.
he already planning the post trade pod. He's ready. The stream gonna be crazy. Not even the pod, the stream, the post trade stream. He gonna have some
I'll be
shit.
locked in.
You
I've grown to
guys,
be a Jaylen Brown fan this year. I'm not gonna lie.
you
I was
guys,
probably
on,
one of his biggest haters.
you guys
I like
understand?
the guy.
I mean, he can really hoop though. Like, I mean, you gotta
He
think
can.
like Boston.
The
He did
streaming
that
shit
with a
made me
team.
kind of like him because he's kind of funny.
I don't care too much for the streaming,
He's kind
but
of funny. The clips I've seen are funny, yo.
teach his own. Teach his
He's
own.
hilarious.
Teach his own.
The hairline stuff at the beginning of the year,
That was funny.
like the
Hey,
the shit with him and Stephen A.
I
Funny
like I
guy.
like that he's outspoken. Like I like that he's like
Yeah,
he's
and
gonna
he
tell
does a lot
all
of stuff in the
right. Yeah,
community. He's a good guy,
yeah,
but
yeah.
he
He
plays for the
does it.
ops, so I had blinders on. But I've grown to be a Jaylen Brown fan this year because he
Get
showed up.
Jaylen Brown. Get
Like
Jaylen Brown a piece. Yeah.
he easily could have averaged a cool 25. They could have won like 30, 40 games and been a playing team or something like that. And he just say like, hey, we ain't had a roster this year, but no, he said I'm gonna come out and I'm gonna show y'all I'm one of, if not the best two-way players in the game, and he stepped up and he proved that. So ton of credit to him. So
Who's
I
next
wouldn't
MVP?
mind seeing him on another team.
Out west, please.
I'm tired of seeing them two together.
Out west would be nice.
Nah, you can stay in the East.
No,
ATL baby,
it would be great. That would sound good. Take him home. That might
and
be
then
pretty.
bring Ant along with you.
Oof. Why do we want this? I'm trying to see a back to back while I can.
Nah,
Like my boy Spike said at the draft last night, back to back.
Spike just talking. He better get that movie ready. If that's the only back to back he gonna see. If he write and direct it.
Nah, we'll see, man. We'll see. But that's gonna do it, man. Um, a lot of fun stuff happening. Obviously, round two coming on tonight, but we'll see if anything crazy happens, man. Somebody's gonna get traded soon, right? We got Josh still out there circulating. Obviously, Jaylen Brown's name is circulating. You know, who will Isaiah Evans, your guy from Duke? He was sitting in the green room last night. Thought he was gonna go in the first round, drop to the second. Is he the first pick of the second round, or does he drop some more? So we'll see. A lot
Think
of fun
Malik Thomas
storylines.
still out there. A lot of talent out there.
Yeah, yeah. So it'll be cool to see, man. But we appreciate y'all rocking with us as always. Like I said, it's the season 5 episode number 1. You know where to find us on all social media platforms and all streaming services at 2 for 2 Podcast. You can find me and Nell on Instagram as well, but don't look for us for real. We're going to keep doing this for you guys. We love each and every one of y'all to listen, every one of y'all that subscribes. Listen to the YouTube, man. Watch the YouTube and get us wherever you need us. With that, Quis and Nelly 2 for 2. You know what we're doing. We out.